guys! So today I thought I'd do a bit of a story time, something a little bit different. I keep saying that in every one of my videos. I would talk about the Mandela Effect and my personal experience with it. If you're not aware of what the Mandela Effect is, it's basically where numerous amounts of people, or just yourself, remember events very differently to how you are reading it currently in the media or history, or something has changed and you remember a different outcome than what is being told to you. So it's called the Mandela Effect because so many people remembered that Nelson Mandela died in 1980 instead of when he actually died in 2013. There have been numerous cases all over the world of people stating this. So many people also believe that the Bernstein bears, what are actually called the Bernstein bears, I might be pronouncing that wrong, I'm not 100% sure. But yes, there's a lot of people that state that the names are completely different. Another example is that a lot of people seem to remember that Hurricane Katrina actually hit New Orleans in April 2005 rather than August 2005. And one that makes me quite sad, as I'm a huge Swayze fan, is a lot of people believe that Patrick Swayze made a full recovery from cancer rather than dying in 2009. There's so many different things out there. I've heard things about Star Wars and the Luke I am your father actually now being no I am your father. So there are so many different things. If you'd like me to go into more detail on this, just comment below and I will do another video on all the ones that I've read about. But this is my story time and my personal experiences with the Mandela Effect. So the first time I noticed this weird thing is I went home to visit my parents for the weekend, and in my parents' bathroom there was a bath with an ash wood panelling, and it had one big long sort of indent, like detail, all around the side of it, and it was always one. And I remember walking into my parents' bathroom this weekend and looking at the bath, and it had 3 panels along the side, and it was in a pine colour. And I was like, oh, you've changed the bath. So I went straight downstairs and sort of said to my dad, oh, you've changed the bath. And he went, no. I was like, oh, but it's a different colour with different patterns. Like, the pattern was exactly the same, but instead of one long panel, there were 3. I was extremely confused why I was asking this question, and I sort of went, alright, okay, I'll go and ask Mum. And I went in and I said to my mum, you've changed the bath. And she went, you've noticed it? I was like, well, yeah. And she said to me, it used to be one long panel, didn't it? And I was like, yes. Now, for some reason, my sister can't remember this, my dad can't remember this, no one else can remember this. We even went and picked up the leaflet of the house when my parents bought it, and it had 3 panels. But Mum and I were convinced, and still are convinced, that there was one long panel. Now, obviously, a lot of you will probably turn to me and say, that's ridiculous. How can that even be possible? But I remember it as one long panel, and every time I look at it, I get a weird, almost, I don't want to say headache, but my head feels fuzzy, and that to me is very, very bizarre. Second instance of the Mandela Effect. Where I went to university, our university campus was on one side of a river, and on the other side there was like shops and restaurants, and it was pretty clear, it was just clear there was no anything on the waterfront. And I walked down one day with one of my friends, and there was a boathouse, this decrepit old boathouse which I had never seen before. And I turned to my friend and I said, do you remember this boathouse? And she went, no. When we got back with the other people we lived with, we said, do you remember this boathouse? And they all went, yes, it's been there for years. They're thinking of tearing it down. And we were like, what? Where did this boathouse come from? It looked like it had been there for years and years and years, like 20, 30 years at least. But we'd never seen it before. Now, obviously in university you go out and have a couple of drinks, but I have walked past where this new boathouse was sober, and I've walked past it drunk, and never ever have I seen it before. Absolutely ridiculous. And then a couple of weeks later I went with my mum, and she said the same thing. Where did this boathouse come from? The interesting thing is my mum and my friend and myself are open to things like this, and what a lot of people would probably call sensitive to these sort of things. And they're the only people that I have met that seem to be able to remember that seem to be able to remember the before, if it was a before, or seem to have this alternate memory. My husband is extremely sort of down to earth and very logical in thinking, and he remembers the boathouse always being there, and a lot of my other friends do. Third instance of the Mandela effect, in the house that we currently live, our stairs at the bottom has 2 light switches, one for the bottom of the stairs for a light, and then one for the top of the stairs. So there's a light switch at the top of the stairs and a light switch at the bottom of the stairs. So you can switch it on the bottom so you're not going in the dark going up, and vice versa. The switch for the top of the stairs is the left switch, and the switch for the bottom of the stairs is the right switch. I came home one day, let myself in through the back door, and it was in the winter, so obviously needed light at like 4 o'clock. So I popped the top light switch on, because I rarely use the bottom light switch because it's not needed. The top one is bright enough. So I came in and flicked the left light switch and it turned the bottom light on. I was like, could have sworn that was the other way around. And I flicked the right switch and it turned upstairs on. I thought, this is weird. And I mentioned it to Mark, and Mark said, no, it's always been that way around. And I thought, okay, I'm just clearly crazy and, you know, whatever. So then fast forward a couple of months, and I come in and I've been switching the right one on to switch upstairs on. I come in, switch the right one on. Switches on downstairs. And I'm like, right, I remember this now. This is wrong. This is not what happened to me. And so I switched the left one on and it turned upstairs on again. So it switched back. Now, there may be a logical explanation for it. I can't find anything anywhere explaining why 2 would cross over. If you do know, please let me know, because it's driving me crazy. And, you know, I'm perfectly open to logical explanations. But as far as I'm concerned, they switched over. So I said to my husband, these have switched over again. He was like, no, they've always been like that. And I'm there like, what? So I said to him, look, I'm going to write on this piece of paper that the left switch turns the top light on and the right switch turns the downstairs light on. And he went, yep, okay, that's fine, I've seen it. And I'm like, right, you've seen me, I've put it in my purse. So fast forward a little bit further, the lights are still the same. I'll be interested to see if I put this video, this switch around. But I went and switched purses the other day, and that note is nowhere to be found. And I asked my husband, why have you moved the note? That's just childish. And he was like, why would I move the note? Just absolutely mind-blowing. And the fact that maybe you could possibly explain the switches getting confused and then switching back again, I don't know. But the fact that the note is gone is just even weirder. So these are all theories, and my personal experiences could very easily be explained. I don't know, but they're all very weird. My mother has also had a couple of these things happen to her. She said she was stood in the bathroom and the radio was on, and she heard that Nelson Mandela had been shot. Now this is quite a common one, hence the Mandela effect. Now this was in 1980. She heard this entire conversation on the radio how Nelson Mandela had been shot. And Mum was like, oh my God. And when she came downstairs, there was nothing of that ever being said. They were discussing it on the radio. The thing is, my sister at the time was in the bathroom with her, and when my mum went to speak to her, my sister couldn't remember any of that conversation. Yes, she was 8 years old, but Mum had spoken to her about it, said, oh my goodness, Nelson Mandela has died, you know who Nelson Mandela is, and talked about that, and she couldn't remember. It's very interesting, and something that fascinates me, that we could be jumping on different parallel universes and lines, and, you know, every choice we have has a different outcome. Everything we do shifts us onto a different direction. I think that's fascinating and, you know, plausible. I mean, yes, you could tell me I'm crazy, but where's the proof that I'm wrong? When these things happen to me, they scare the crap out of me, and I'm not a fan of them, and I haven't had one in a very long time, which I'm very happy about because I don't need it. But it's a very interesting subject, and one that I'm fascinated by, and I'm actually quite scared to fall down the rabbit hole, I won't lie. I thought I'd just share this with you guys, a little story time of my experiences with it. If you'd like me to do more of these sort of paranormally, parallelly universe type story times, then let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, and I will see you next time.